Welcome to Dredge, a simple and wonderful calming fishing game in which all you have to do is go out at dawn, catch some lovely fishes and sell them to the most wonderful townsfolk for some money. But you also have to watch out for madness, the night and terrifying monsters lurking beneath the waves. Now honestly, it feels weird playing this game straight after Sons of the Forest, as in there I said that I hated open water, and yet here I am playing a game based solely on that purpose. However, when I watched the trailer for this game a couple of weeks ago and saw the art style, I just knew that I had to play it, and the fact that this game is getting overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam just made me want to get it even more. So today we're going to be taking to the ocean and getting all 40 achievements that this game has to offer, and to see if it's deserving of that title. So without further ado, let's get straight to the waters and see what happens. Welcome to the achievement grind. The game starts with a boat sailing across the ocean. We're responding to an ad in the paper looking for a fisherman. We wake up at a dock talking to the mayor of this local town. Now unfortunately on the way in we did crash, but the mayor is kind enough to give us a boat that we will eventually have to pay back. But he says good luck and we go out to get the first catch of the day. Now Dredge is based on a skill check system and an inventory system. Now if you wanted to, you could totally ignore the skill checks, however the more you hit the faster that you can reel your fish in. Once you've caught one, you have to allocate its space in your inventory, so you're going to have to channel your inner Tetris to get the most out of your hauls. The first fish we catch is a blue mackerel, and that's only one of over 100 species of fish that you can actually find in the game. However, mackerel is good enough for now, so we fish until the spot is fully depleted and go to move on to the next. In a different spot, we also find cod. For now, we're just catching as much as we can. Once done, we turn around and head back to the dock. On the way though, we sound our foghorn, and when we hear a reply from another ship, we unlock our first achievement from the fog. The mayor then greets us again and introduces us to the local fishmonger, and we get straight to business. By selling all the fish we just caught, we make over $100. Not bad for a day's work. The mayor also rewards us with our first research part, which we can use to unlock new equipment for the boat to expand our fishing journey, whether it be upgrading crab pots or getting new rods capable of oceanic and volcanic fishing. We then meet the shipwright and unlock the next achievement, introductions, for meeting everybody in the town. Now this lovely woman's job is to fix our boat when we damage the hull. We can also buy new parts and eventually upgrade the entire boat itself through her services. For now though, we just trek to the other side of the pond and meet a local jeweler who we will sell any trinkets that we happen to find across the ocean. And with that, we are now into the night for the first time. Now I know that nighttime could get pretty spooky, as around 8 PM a thick mist pulls in that increases your madness and makes it very hard to see without the right lights on your boat. And the more madness you gain, the more bizarre events will happen, from tornadoes, getting attacked by monsters, and even just as simple as making rocks appear everywhere to damage your ship. Now we didn't sleep that night because we are fearless, so morning rocks up, and even though it's calm and beautiful, we're still holding on to a lot of the night's madness. So with that, we redock and meet the lighthouse keeper. She is a nasty pasty and soon scuttles off to her den. Now something else that happens throughout the game is that you are given tasks called pursuits, and most of them of course are to do with catching a specific kind of fish. Nothing too much to talk about, but I thought I should still mention them, and I will do a couple more times no doubt in the video. But anyway, back to the meat, well, fish and potatoes of the game. For the next couple of days we stay local and just fish to explore the types of species that we can catch, and also to get a little bit of money under our belts. Nothing too crazy. However, on the morning of day 5, madness truly kicks in, and a swarm of crows storm the boat and steal all of the fish at the very same time that I find a shrine that is also asking for fish. Now the pictures around the slab show cod, so with that being pretty doable, it's time to go and get some cod to see what this is all about. Once we fill the picture with the fish, we unlock a corrupted fishing tool that really helps the speed in which to catch them, so a lovely treat for sure. Also on the way back, more madness happens as something slithers onto the boat and infects our fish. So we race back to the dock, sell what we have and rest to get rid of the madness. Then waking up in the evening, we decide to catch some more fish. Now when I start, I do see a swarm of fish with a very bizarre aura above them, so curious, we head straight there. And the second I pull a grouper out of the water, it appears to have been mutated and deformed, something called a tusked grouper. So we take it back to the fishmonger to ask what the smeg this is. He inspects said fish, slices it open and finds a handkerchief in it that he then gives us. Now this is what we call a corrupted fish. fish, and that most species of fish have at least one corrupted version that makes them worth a hell of a lot more money. So always grabbing these when you can will be wonderful for your wallet. But when we return to our boat, a man is looking at us throughout the window, saying that he knows what we've just found, and to go and meet him at his house on his island only a moment away. But for now, it's crab time. Talking to the fishmonger, he then introduces us to crab pots. Very straightforward, you find a spot, you dump the pot and come back in a couple of days to collect your rewards. You know, it's not rocket science. But intrigued, we travel to the man's house. He introduces himself as the collector, and we hand him the handkerchief. He says that it is of grave importance and that it came from an old ship that he has been searching for, and that he will fit our boat with dredging equipment so that we can go and find some artifacts in the ocean that have also got grave importance. All I hear is free ship, so yeah, give it. We accept, and a dredge crane is added, which now means that we can dredge for trinkets to sell, materials to use in upgrading our boat, and of course trying to find these artifacts that the collectors told us about, for which there are 5. And speaking of, when we go out dredging that night, we find the first process to all of these artifacts, as we bring up a rather grand looking key. Now there isn't anything really we can do with this yet, but we absolutely can in the future, so we just put it in storage for now and move on. For the time being, I just wanted to get the boat debt paid off and have some money in the bank, and going out fishing once again, we get our next achievement. This one is for fully depleting 25 different fishing spots, unlocking us careless harvesting. And our next is also right around the corner. By filling every single space in our inventory Resident Evil 4 style, we also unlock the achievement Perfect Packing. By this time, we now had a couple of upgrades under our hull, and I was feeling much braver, so for the first time, we journeyed outside of our little town to see what was really out there in the world. The first thing that we find is a man sat on a cliff in all black robes. They don't really say much other than that we must fulfill their hunger by bringing them a mackerel, so I leave immediately as that is just weird. We soon then make it to the shores of another town, and we meet a hermit who wants to go back to live with his brother, but they unfortunately had a falling out. So at some point we need to dredge for his family's crest so that we can use it to guilt trip the brother in letting him stay in again, but more on that later. That night we also then meet the travelling merchant, who has her own little raft outside all of the major islands on the map. She works identical to the shipyard worker and the fishmonger combined, so she is wonderful. The next day rises though, and the first port of call is finding a mackerel. We do just that and take it back to the person in black, who instantly eats it raw on the spot and demands more fish. We do this another 2 times before his hunger is fed, and we are then given a book. Now, you can get books in this game from missions and side quests that once read over time will grant small bonuses to your boat or your fishing, such as faster reeling speeds and stuff like that, so they're well worth collecting. Now it's time for a couple more achievements to tick off the list though. The next is simple, just to throw away 25 fish. Discarding the stupid blubbery fools unlocks us the next achievement, Unwanted, which makes me feel a little bit bad about them, I can't lie. And the next we get is by selling more fish to the merchant, as by selling over $2,500 worth of fish we unlock lives for profits. Now, feeling more adventurous again, we travel to a place called the Devil's Spine. First we find a grand coliseum, and when we inspect it, a fanatic arrives and says that I am now a disciple here to help him complete his missions by lighting 3 fires on the island. And this place is no joke. Swarms of small fish will rush your boat constantly and slow you down to a snail-like pace. Why do you ask? Well, for the parent to crush your boat and kill you instantly, so we won't be returning there anytime soon. Now, we've been to every single island so far but one, so we travel to that one next. A swamp with bizarre traps laid out everywhere, and of course madness-inducing squid things that more or less instantly drive you insane. So trying to escape the mine suckers, we find someone else. He says that we need to kill the mine suckers so he can leave the island, and we need to find a mortar from his friend's fallen aircrafts to blow them sky high. But who's got time for that? Especially when we go back home and fully upgrade our hull for the first time and unlock the next achievement, Hull Improve. So feeling generous and in a good mood, I got back to the ocean and then quickly stumbled across the lost family crest from earlier. We give it to the brother, who then makes us give it to the other brother, who then says to go and get the brother and bring him to the other brother. Oh brother, that's a lot of brothers. Anyway, we deliver one to the other and then unlock explosives, which will be fantastic for clearing the way in some of the more difficult regions and also getting our hands on some rarer fish. We go celebrate by blowing up the path to unlock a new bit, until we get attacked by a huge underwater cyclops beast. So instead we say feck that and race out of there. So to cool off, we head to the other side of the map so that we are very far away from the monsters, as I'd actually been there before and it was totally safe. Well, I say that, turns out it's not safe at all, as when you actually look below you can see a very angry looking kraken. So yeah, every part of the map holds some wonderful danger for you to get destroyed by. So time for another achievement, I think. as by filling all of the fishing and netting spots we have on our boat we unlock feeling prepared. But one of the nets we've just unlocked allows us to catch fish by just driving across the water, which is great for naturally gaining money. Now something I haven't actually mentioned yet here as well is a spyglass. This allows you to see fish in the distance and even tell what species it is, which is really handy for spotting unfound species or looking for a particular fish. And by spotting one type of every fish with it, we also unlock our next achievement, Prey Sighted. Now, I feel like we have the ball rolling, and with the upgrades we're getting and money that we're making, the achievements should hopefully be rolling in faster, and we should be able to make some lovely progress on the main story missions. Now, it turns out that I'm an idiot. I have had this key on me the entire time, and I didn't think once to go and take it to the collector to see what he has to say about it. So we finally realised that we should probably do that and go deliver the key to him. We immediately hand it over and unlock the achievement, the key, for doing so. He wonders where the lock is, but of course we haven't a clue. He opens his red and silver book and grants us a new ability for this find, Haste, which allows us to basically nitro boost our boat in short bursts, granting us really quick speeds. However, if we overdo it, it can actually damage the boat and make us madder. But the collector also gets a sense of where the first artifact is, and it's in one of the safer regions of the ocean, so it sounds good to us. Now, you know the drill by now, folks. In between all of this, we fished for money and fished materials for upgrades. Honestly, there isn't really anything I can mention here, as this game is quite simple in nature. However, the game is very calming and extremely addicting. So even though it may not be apparent in my video because showing this game isn't really the same as playing it. However, it's unbelievably fun, and I just got lost in the fishing and dredging without really thinking that I'm not focusing on the story as much as I probably should be. And this is very apparent as we quickly unlock the next two achievements. The first was for catching 250 fish with rods for lifted from the deep, quickly followed by us completely upgrading our boat's hull again, unlocking the very cleverly named Hull Refined. And would you look at that, the next achievement is also right around the corner, as when we make haste to head to somewhere, we keep the haste above 50% for 10 seconds and unlocked Cruel Heat. However, after a lot of fishing and dealing with side quests, I thought it would be the perfect time to carry on with the main missions now. So we travelled back to the swamp region to take care of the mine suckers once and for all. We dredged both parts of the mortar with relative ease and brought them back to the man on the island. He says that he's going to assemble it, but now he needs us to do something for the next part of the plan. So he's apparently the one that has been setting up the traps around the island, ready to capture and kill the mine suckers with the mortar once he's assembled it. However, for now we need to go and get fish to make some very particular types of bait to attract them to the right spots. Sounds simple enough, and all of the fish that he needs are local, so we go out and get them in all one big swoop rather simply. With the 3 baits on board, we head to the traps, drop them in, and watch the mine suckers get captured and blown to pieces. We scoop up some proof of the remains, and when we do this 3 times with all of the creatures, he thanks us. We unlock the bait ability, which allows us to attract multiple types of fish to the same spot, and we also get our first proper artifact, the necklace, which he found inside one of the globs of Mind Sucker. So we rush back to the collector, and when we're almost there, we decide to give this bait a try. We drop it and unlock our next achievement, Mixed Results, for attracting 3 different species of fish to the same spot. Not too sure why bait's really needed, and this is the only time I use it in the entire game, but why not? We got an achievement for it. We rock up to the collector's shore, open the door and throw the necklace at him, also unlocking the achievement, The Chains. He thanks us and starts to read from his book again. This time we unlock the Manifest ability, which allows us to teleport back to here at any point on the map. He gives us the next location for an artifact and sends us on our way. The next artifact is at another kind of safe region, the Gale Cliffs, and it took us a total of about 40 seconds to find it once we'd used explosives to clear the way, finding a music box. Then using Manifest to teleport back to him, we also unlock our next achievement, Dimensional Bypass. And I'm sure you've guessed by now, folks, but another achievement and power is already here. So by talking to the collector again and throwing the music box in his general location, we unlock the secret. The power we unlock from this is Banish, a bright light that protects us from madness and monsters, something that for sure we will be using in Devil's Spine. Then he also gives us the next location for the artifact and we set off. So before in Stellar Basin, when I said that there was a kraken-like monster in the middle of the ocean, well, it turns out that's where our next artifact is. Now, earlier we met a scientist just off the island who asked us to get some fish for her research, and being a good fisherman, we brought those to her. Well, now she needs us to get some prototype research parts that will make it so I can fish for things that low down, as none of the equipment that I can buy or make right now can fish for things that deep in the ocean. So, of course, we accept. Now, we find her research parts a whopping 25 seconds later, and when we get the part that we need, we wait till it's nighttime, banish the creature away, and get our next artifact, the ring. Once more, we lob it at the collector's head and unlock the achievement, The the bond. Our final unlockable power this time is an ability called Atrophy, which allows us to instantly harvest an entire fishing spot, which sounds like a wonderful time saver to me. Only one more relic to go, and this time it's in the Devil's Spine, the most dangerous island in the game, so we need to make sure that we are truly ready for it. And we do that by going for another achievement, as when we're in the ocean I use Atrophy and apparently snag some fish that are a little far away. By doing so though, we unlock the next achievement, Unsustainable Fishing. But knowing that the Devil's Spine is no joke, I decide it's best to kit out my boat as best as possible. So by adding new rods to it to make our fishing speed over 200%, we unlock the achievement Swift Reaper, and by increasing the speed of our boat to over 75, we unlock No Time to Linger. And those with Banish seems like a wonderful start, but you'd think we'd be done with the achievements. Please. Now, throughout this entire game so far, I have been earning research parts by completing quests and side missions, and spending them, spreading them out across all of the categories of upgrades. However, now it's time to unlock the last rod on the list. We add the parts and unlock the achievement Researcher Rods. And soon after, we took another load of trinkets to sell at the jewelers, and by selling over $1,500 worth of rarities, we unlock another achievement, Cash for Gold. Now, back at the Devil's Spine, we also had managed to complete a little puzzle that allows us to enter inside some ancient ruins. In there is a reward called the Flame of the Sky, a light that apparently burns 3,500 lumens bright, which is fantastic as by adding it to our boat and having all 3,500 lumens burning, we unlock yet another achievement, Light Up the Night. And if you haven't noticed, something about this game is that towards the start it's a little bit sparing with the achievements, but once you know what you're doing and get the ball rolling, that's when you really start to unlock them, and we're making some lovely progress now. For now though, it's time to find the 3 fires to return to the Fanatic and hopefully get our last piece of the puzzle. This was tricky to say the least, as the Devil's Spine is full of enemies that would love nothing more than to make you a feast for their mother. However, with Banish, this became a lot easier. But for the last fire we needed crabs, and I didn't have any pots down, so we placed them, but we also do need a few days to see the results and hope that we get the right crabs for the shrine. Whilst we waited, I circled some islands I hadn't been to yet and found a man resting at a campfire. This is the old mayor, and he has absolutely lost his mind and is quite frankly terrified. He constantly asks us if we've thrown it back, and when we haven't a clue what he's on about, he mentioned the Collector's Book. Apparently it will bring our doom and it needs to be thrown into the water for us all to be saved. He then tells us that if we don't believe him, to ask the old lady who runs the lighthouse. So we'll do that later. I have crabs to crab. Whilst exploring and fishing, we also grab our next achievement though, as by banishing the monster in the lake once more and making it our 10th banishment, we unlock the achievement, well, Banisher. And by this time we also had enough materials to upgrade our boat for the final time. We complete the upgrade and unlock the last upgrade related achievement for the hull, Hull Advanced. And now we're really getting there, folks. Whilst waiting as well, I thought it would be a fantastic time to get the last side missions done. We'd already naturally completed about 80% of the side missions in the game, and the rest weren't too tricky to do either. And in fact, the last mission was great. On the shores of an island, we found a lovely yet scared dog. Once we got him to trust us with the prospect of food, he joins us on our travels. However, unfortunately, the next part of the mission is that I have to find him his forever home. My mind immediately went to the researcher that was quite local. I mean, she knows animals, so she will no doubt provide some really good care for this pup. Now, this researcher isn't an idiot, and it takes her all but 1 second to accept her new companion. So with that, it's time to light the last fire and get all of the missions done and complete. The crab pots also worked wonderfully, and we offered them both to the shrine, and indeed got our last fire. We then light the fires at the Colosseum and say to the Fanatic that the job is done. We then join him in a rather bizarre ritual. He begins to chant and wind picks up and it gets a lot more intense as fire begins to start under his feet. We of course do nothing because we're not morons and we're not going to interrupt this, and he's immediately engulfed in flames and burnt to ash. But that's the mission complete, so for all the side missions done, we unlock the next achievement, Providence. But left behind in the ash is a watch, the last artifact that we need. We travel to the Collector immediately and deliver it to him, unlocking us of course another achievement for doing so, the Moment. The Collector then says that with all of the pieces the ritual can now take place and that he will accompany me to the spot to perform it. However, before we accept, I also remember that we need to speak to the lighthouse keeper like the old mayor said. When we do, instead of her normal aggression, she shows pity and understanding, which really threw me. She says that we know that we must throw it back and move on for her sake as well as our own. So when we return to the Collector, we instead take the book from him. As we do, a mirror shatters and it's revealed that the fisherman that we play as and the Collector collector are one in the same, and that we now have the book in our hands. The collector says that we finally have the power to release her from her slumber, and it's the right thing to do. Now, there are two endings to this game. The first we decide to tackle is that of throwing the book back. We travel at night to the correct spot, and even though the book fights us, we eventually throw it overboard. And we also unlock the achievement Sated. When the book sinks, our lights go out, the camera shakes and then pans away as our boat and the book is swallowed whole by a leviathan. We died. Mint. This really feels like the good ending, which apparently this is. So we reload and this time take the collector, or us, with ourselves, to perform the ritual instead. We open the book and throw all of the offerings into the water, all of them components to bring her back. Here we also unlock Unshackled. But this time when the lights go out, a woman rises from the ocean and hovers above the water. Nice. Are we sure this isn't the good ending? We've just saved a life. Well, no, because off in the distance it is also revealed that we have released the elder god Cthulhu as well. And it's also her that we have awoken with the ritual. And in the credits we can see that the Cthulhu has destroyed the entire town. So yeah, definitely the bad ending. Now the only way you can really piece together what happened is by finding lore with messages that you find in the game. So let me explain. Many years ago, me and the woman in the ocean were very happily married. Her name is Julie, and she joined us on the boat whilst we fished. On a trip though, we found a casket, and once opening it we unleashed something that took us, the fisherman's mind, and then after that night we totally disappeared. With no hope and after many months of waiting, Julie threw herself into the ocean to be with her husband. However, we wasn't dead. The collector was the elder god who had corrupted our minds, getting us to do her bidding to revive her from a slumber, and all of the corruption and horribleness in this world is the result of the elder god. So by finally bringing our beloved Julie back, we also brought Cthulhu back and the end of the world. Now, I know not the most groundbreaking story to ever be told, but its simplicity fits in perfectly with the game. There didn't need to be a massive story behind it, but that is the story of Dredge. However, we still do have a couple of achievements left to go through before this game is finally ticked off the list, so let's go through them now. The first achievement was unlocked soon after the story ended, and it was simply by collecting 100 crabs from crab pots, unlocking us trapped by these walls. The next was also fairly simple, and was for just researching all of the available nets in the game. We got this 10 minutes later and unlocked researcher nets. Now the next achievement we unlocked I actually was quite surprised by. Throughout our entire journey on Dredge so far we had found many different species of fish, but moments later when we used the trawler net to catch our last species of fish, and no, unfortunately it isn't trout a la creme, so we can't enjoy our meal, it was an anchovy. Still delicious, but even more delicious is the fact that this is the final species that we have to find, and by finding it we unlock the achievement Master Angler. But you guessed it, we're not done. Next was for catching 150 fish with the trawler net, something that was very easy to do. And at this point I was just catching and selling as many fish as I possibly could anyway, so that we have a lot of money saved up for an achievement later on. But when we catch the 150th fish, we unlocked Tangled in this web. Now even though we had found all the species of fish, we still had some fishing to do, as the next achievement requires us to catch all of the corrupted versions of the fish. Now same as the last time, I had already caught most of them or found them at this point, so thankfully it didn't take us too long to find the last couple. However, with Atrophy this was also a breeze, as when you catch an entire swarm of fish using your power, it is guaranteed that one of the fish will be corrupted. So all we had to do was simply look for the fish that we needed, use the power, and that would guarantee the corrupted version that we needed, making this much easier. And by catching our last variation called the Collapsed Viper Fish, we unlocked the achievement Aberration Attractor. The next was also very simple and took hardly any time again, as by visiting every dock available in the game, including the hidden ones that it doesn't show on the map, we unlocked the achievement Safe Havens. Now, at the start of the video I mentioned having to donate cod to a shrine, and when we did we got a corrupted fishing tool. Well, for this achievement we have to complete all 4 hidden around the map. It did take us quite a little while to find them all. The last one we found asked for a single corrupted fish, extremely easy, so we found a fishing spot, atrophied the fish and donated it to the rock, getting us Servants of the Shrines. And with that we only have 2 achievements left. I was a little bit concerned, however, as to how to get to these. So we have 2 achievements so far for researching all of the available things in a given category. We had done rods and we'd done nets. However, we still had to get engines and pots ticked off as well. The only reason why this worried me is that we'd already gone through the entire game and got all of the side quests done, which gave us the parts that we needed. So I was really thinking on how we would find enough research parts for it all, until I remembered that the travelling merchant also sells them from time to time. So the plan was simple. We finally find her and buy the part off her, then sleep until she got another one in stock. Now this could take as little as a day to restock, sometimes it could take as much as 2 weeks. It is complete RNG on how often she has them, but we had nothing else to do, so we just slept and slept until we had enough to finally max out our engines. This is also why we wanted to get loads of money together so that we could afford all of these research parts. We put the last part into the last engine, however, and unlocked the achievement researcher engines. And you know what comes next, we slept and slept again until we had all the parts for the crab pots. This didn't take anywhere near as long, so only about 15 minutes later we got the final part, researched the last crab pot, and unlocked both researcher pots and From the Depths for getting every achievement in the game. So with every fish fished, every crab potted, and every achievement grinded, we have nothing else to do. The grind is over. Now, Dredge was honestly such a huge surprise to me. The game's art style and simple fishing with a spooky twist definitely piqued my interest, but I honestly could not stop playing this game. The second I wasn't doing something, I was on Dredge. It was incredibly addicting, and honestly, I don't think I have a single complaint about the game. The art style is fecking gorgeous, the gameplay is simple yet engaging, the different species and corruptions of fish were a treat to explore and find at the different regions, along with the spooky nighttime and madness. It just made sure that I never truly felt safe on the water. It was honestly perfection, and I completely understand why this game has overwhelmingly positive reviews. It really deserves it, and I really hope that my video has done it justice. I wasn't expecting to be taken aback by this game like this, but I really mean it when I say that I don't have a single criticism of this game. So let's get to the stats. For Dredge, it took us nearly 15 hours to get all 40 achievements that this game has to offer. And folks, please clap and celebrate with me as we welcome the second ever game on the channel that I am comfortably going to be saying is a 10 out of 10. It is perfect, and there is absolutely nothing I could have suggested that would make this experience better. It's that good. So Dredge is now the second game ever with a 10 out of 10 from me. Congratulations to Black Salt Games and Team 17, you struck gold here. For the difficulty of the achievements, however, I'm going to be giving this game a 3 out of 10. Now, it is a pleasure to go through, but you do have to set some time aside to make sure that you get all of the quests done, all of the fish core and corrupted versions got as well. And some of the other achievements make this a tiny bit more complicated than you might think, but I'm sure nobody will truly have a problem getting to the 100% on this one. For the most difficult achievement, I am going to be giving this to Aberration Attractor. As it takes all game to do this, you more or less have to find every fish to begin with, and then have to refine the corrupted versions as well. So definitely the grindiest of the achievements, however, it was still hilariously fun, and I beg you to give this game a go for yourselves. And that's Dredge. Honestly, so deserving of the 10 out of 10 there. However, will next Sunday's game be just as enjoyable? Well, carrying on with the water theme, make sure you subscribe and join us next week as we delve back into Rapture, this time to get our daughter back. Of course, I'm talking about BioShock 2. Now, funnily enough, BioShock was the other game that I gave a 10 out of 10. So how is its sequel going to fare? Well, come back next Sunday to find out. And thank you all so much for watching. I am honestly and constantly overwhelmed with the amazing support that you folks have shown me. It is truly a blessing to be able to do this full time now, and boy do I have some treats coming for you lovely lot soon. And speaking of treats, don't forget that the Patreon is also now live, so if you want some behind the scenes sneak peeks, your name in the credits, and exclusive voting rights as well as so much more, go and click the link in the description and have a look for yourself. Also, don't forget to swing by my Twitch as well, where we go for the grinds live, and I am currently live right now, so come join us. But I've rambled on for far too long, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next week. Take care.